Hey there, creepy peeps. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. Today is going to be a pretty long video. Before I get into this video, because I have a lot to go over today, I want to thank my creepy patron peeps for supporting my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. If you get to the end of this super long video and you like it, go ahead and slash that like button for me. It helps me out algorithm wise, and it lets me know what types of videos you guys like to see so I can do more of them. And also, by the end, if you feel so inclined, subscribe, become a creepy peep today. I normally post 2 new videos a week, but 31 days of Horrorween is literally next week. So there'll be a video every single day of October. It's a good time to subscribe. So you would have noticed from the title already that I'm going to be doing what I read and what I watched in September. 1, earlier than normal, and 2, together in one video, which I haven't done in a while, because I'm not going to be posting a video on Wednesday like I normally would. I will be doing a live stream that evening, but I'm not going to be posting a pre-recorded and edited video because 31 days of Horrorween starts on Thursday. So I figure instead of worrying about making a whole other video, I can just prepare for 31 days of Horrorween and get that going, and then you guys are gonna get 31 videos, a video every single day from me for a month. So I figure you guys will survive if I don't post a video on Wednesday. So let's get started. This intro has already been long enough, and this video is gonna be super long. First book I want to talk about really quick. I actually don't have a physical copy with me. I got asked by the author to review their anthology, and so I just got the ebook version super quick and easy. The book was called Who's There? It's by Demas Rio, and it's just a short collection of short stories, an anthology, that are obviously all scary. They're also based on folklore and legends, which you guys know I really love. So it was good. It was a really quick read if you're looking for something fast and easy to kind of get you in the spooky spirit. I was also sent another book for an honest review, and I am sorry to say that I DNF'd this. I didn't get very far. As you can see from my maybe you can see, I don't know, the light is really bright for whatever reason. The story that was being set up was intriguing. It's kind of like world going to shit, apocalypse sort of thing. Very apropos for 2020. The issue I had was with the way the author Oliver C. Seneca described the characters. I don't want to read out all of these examples. This is an up and coming author. I'm not here to bash anybody. Just as an honest review, it made me uncomfortable and feel a little bit icky the way some of the characters were described, and I felt it was unnecessary. So I couldn't bring myself to finish it. I was just that preoccupied with the writing, I couldn't finish it. So I had to put this one down. Then I got into some graphic novels. This one, also super duper fast read. It's only 100 pages. It's called Fangs by Sarah Anderson. Just a super cute, little one-shots or snippets in this relationship between a vampire and a werewolf, and it's just really cute, and the cover is gorgeous, very spooky. We like. Yeah, also perfect to get into spooky season. Super quick read. I literally finished it in 30 minutes. The next graphic novel I read is actually behind me, so hopefully I don't knock every single book over trying to get this. Seems okay. Maybe seems okay. It is Baltimore by Mike Mignola, Christopher Golden, Ben Stenbeck, and Dave Stewart. This one was brought to my attention by the assistant manager where I work. He had read it and was telling me about it because I like spooky things, and this is very spooky inspired. And yeah, so it's by the guy who wrote Hellboy. So if any of you guys are familiar with that, I've only ever seen the movies. I didn't read the graphic novels, but so basically this takes place after World War I, and the world is infected with a plague of vampirism and other demons that crop up throughout this omnibus. It follows this man, Lord Baltimore, who is bent on revenge against this one particular vampire, and that's all I'll say on it. It was really good, really intriguing read. I liked the setting, and I liked vampirism as a plague instead of, you know, maybe something. It's definitely not romanticized. It's definitely very creepy, scary, gory. Would highly recommend. I think there's only, if you read it as the omnibus, there's only 2. This is really how I prefer to read graphic novels, like all together, because otherwise my bookshelves would be overtaken with like all the little additions. So I would prefer to wait till they're all like this. Last graphic novel in this stack here. I picked this one up very much on a whim. It's Fun Home, a family tragicomic, and the cover is very reflective. So ooh, pretty. So this is a graphic novel memoir, also kind of a short read. The reason why I picked this up, oh, I'm sorry, it's by Alison Bechdel. Not sure how they say their last name. Barnes & Noble booksellers. I don't know if it's like Fight Club, like can I not mention this? But there's a Facebook group that we have for Barnes & Noble booksellers, and somebody had shared that, I guess wherever, I'm not sure what state this person was in, what school district or whatever, but this had been assigned as school reading for a high school, I imagine. And a lot of parents took issue with it and were trying to get it, you know, taken off of the school curriculum. So as soon as I hear anything like that, when people are like offended by something or anything like that, I'm like, oh, I gotta read this. It's quite short because it's really centered around Allison's father and her relationship with him. The author is gay, and there are like 2 scenes in here of, and I say scene very lightly, it's like maybe 2 or 3 little, I don't know what you call these in graphic novels or comics, the little squares. Frames, like 2 or 3 frames of sexual activity. It's not graphic at all. Oh, I actually like turned to a page. It wasn't intentional. I didn't even mark it. That's funny. So basically I read this because I'm a petty bitch. Finally, the Creepy Book Club pick for September was The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So the book follows 4 American Indian men who are being haunted by this event that took place when they were a little bit younger, and it's now literally coming back to haunt them and seek revenge for what they did, which I'm not going to give away because it's kind of a, you don't know right away in the book. It's revealed in the book, so I'm going to not reveal it to you. But it was really, really, really good. We read another Stephen Graham Jones books, I actually think September of last year, possibly. It was either September or October. It was The Last Final Girl. And I gotta say, that one wasn't my favorite. This was so different in the best way. You can really tell that the author is a fan of horror movies because the scares and the gore in this book are just immaculate. There's a whole lot of folklore and legend in this, which again, you guys know I really, really love. I really like the way the book was laid out also. You don't follow all the characters at once is how I want to say it without giving anything away. He does a really good job of making you attached to these characters, and you know, then shit happens to them and like your jaw is on the floor because you it's just really good. I really liked the themes of heritage and tradition and the blending of that, and I guess like modern times, like you know, that like a modern generation. I like I like the themes of that. There's a big theme of like trying to escape tradition and trying to escape, you know, your heritage maybe, and this entity is very much represents that tradition or that heritage, literally coming back to haunt these haunt these men. And it takes a look at two different generations also, and how the younger generation in this book is able to kind of like marry these modern ideas and these traditional ideas to overcome this entity. And I thought it was really, really good. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend you pick this up. It's very good for spooky season. I can't reach the book from my position on the floor, and I'm not gonna get up to get it because I'm a petty bitch and I'm also a lazy bitch. Our creepy book club read for October is The Boatman's Daughter by Andy Davidson. If you want to join us in reading that for October, please do. It looks really, really good. I'm super excited to read it. That's all for the books. Now on to the movies, where I'm now gonna have to get up and go upstairs to my computer to get on Letterboxd. So I'll see you up there. All right, so now we're up here with Letterboxd. Let's go over all the movies I watched. Let's get into this. So the first thing I watched was actually The Bridge Curse, which is a Taiwanese horror film. I just talked about it in my Hidden Gems video, so I'll link it up here, whichever side. One of my coworkers, my friends, who does not like horror movies, gets scared very easily, actually suggested this one to me. So, you know, I've been teaching her well. But it's about an urban legend at a college campus that turns out to be very real and is, you know, discovered by these group of students that are filming it as kind of like a challenge video. But it's really, really good. I don't want to give too much away. There is a little bit of a twist in it, and I thought it was quite a clever twist. Not completely new, but it was like a unique take on that similar kind of twist, which is all I can say without like giving it away and speaking vaguely. Then I watched Ernest Scared Stupid. This is actually the first time I've ever watched an Ernest movie, ever. We watched it with my patrons for a movie night. We had a lot this month. Oh no, the bird is back. So if you hear the bird tapping at the window, that's what that is. That's a bird. Anyone remember the bird in the comments? I don't know why it likes to tap at the window. It just sees its reflection or something. Anyways, ignore the bird. I had a bit of an emergency, like the last, not like emergency, but I had a thing. The last weekend of August, so I had to reschedule a couple of movie nights. So if it seems like we did a lot of movie nights this month for my patrons, it was because we did. So that was fun. I mean, it was just one of those, like, I probably definitely would have loved it a little bit more if I had grown up watching this every Halloween, but I definitely see the appeal. I like so many other movies similar to that are like kind of spooky or Halloween related. Really fun, especially as a group watch. Speaking of a group watch, we did a double feature the next night with my patrons. I know, we were making up some movie nights, okay? And we did quite possibly like the best double feature ever, which is Clue and Knives Out. So if you're looking for a fun double feature to watch with friends, especially maybe these aren't really like Halloween related, but they're kind of like creepy-esque, like murder mystery, it fits, like horror adjacent. Highly recommend watching these two. I've talked about Knives Out before. I really, really love that movie. Clue, I hadn't watched this for a while when I, you know, rewatched it here. I used to watch it so many times, oh my goodness. And it was really, really fun because about half of the people at the movie night hadn't seen it ever. So it was so it was just a delight to see their reactions to this for the first time. And yeah, if you haven't seen Clue, if for whatever reason you still haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Then I watched him Thinking of Ending Things. I didn't do a review on this because I saw a bunch of other people did reviews about like the book and the movie, and I thought they were great, so I didn't really have anything much to add to that. I read the book ages ago, months ago. The book is fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's by Ian Reid. It's quite a short read. I think it's not even 200 pages or just 200 pages. Very quick. Just an amazing book. I highly recommend it, especially if you watched the movie and you didn't quite understand what was going on. I saw some articles, some interviews with Charlie Kaufman where he was talking about how he intentionally made it open-ended. The book is very straightforward with what's happening, whether you like that sort of thing or not. I think the movie works really well if you don't know what's going on, I think, because it's left so open-ended. I was a little bit frustrated as a fan of the book where they just completely changed the ending. I liked what he did. It was just, I wasn't expecting it. It took me by surprise. But I do think you will, you know, you can interpret it however you want, but if you want kind of what was like meant to be what was meant to be going on, how the author intended it, I would highly recommend reading the book and then rewatching the movie, because some of those parts are gonna hit so different if you know what's happening. But if you don't want to read the book, that's also fine. You know, like I said, the director wanted you to draw your own conclusions about what's happening, so you know, you can make up your own thing. I won't tell you what it is. I would highly recommend you I would highly recommend you read the book though. I liked it. For an adaptation, it was good. I liked the imagery. Like I said, there were a lot of parts that really hit hard with me knowing what was going on. And I think the way they visually represented that was awesome and very clever. So I liked it. And then I watched Uncle Peckerhead, which was a patron request from Felix, aka Raiders, who you've probably seen around the horror community. This is like a fun little horror comedy about a punk band who is going on their first tour ever, and they kind of strike up a deal with Uncle Peckerhead to drive them around in his van for their tour. And it turns out at night he turns into a demon and eats the flesh of humans. And for a while that works to the band's advantage, and of course it goes wrong a little bit later on, but it's just a really fun, kind of silly movie. Nothing really to take seriously, just fun, lots of gore, kind of like that fun, kind of like awkward humor where you get like secondhand embarrassment, but it's also really funny. So I recommend it. I thought this was really good. So yay, Felix. We normally disagree on things, so when I like a suggestion from him, it's always a big deal. And then I watched Trick or Treat because it's fucking Trick or Treat. I just felt like watching it. It's the perfect thing to get me in the Halloween spirit, and whew, boy am I in the Halloween spirit now. Then I watched Tragedy Girls. That was with my patrons also for a movie night. Super fun. This is the second time I've watched it, and I thought it's just really good. Like, it's just fun. Another kind of silly one, very like Scream-esque, self-aware of horror movies, especially with these two characters who are very aware of horror movies. Yeah, it's just fun. If you want to watch two girls having fun, like being death obsessed and like serial killer obsessed, but not in like but like in a fun way. Yeah, that's how I want to say it. You should watch Tragedy Girls. It is really fun. Then I watched The Exorcist. That was for Does This Offend You? I watched it with, if I could just skip up here, with Orphan. That was our theme, was like children in horror movies, particularly like child actors in horror movies having to do kind of crazy and intense things, very adult things, especially for these two movies. So yeah, The Exorcist was a rewatch. I really like that movie. And Orphan was a rewatch. I hadn't watched it in ages when I sat down to watch it for this, but yeah, I forgot. I used to watch it all the time. I don't know what happened. Then I rewatched But I'm a Cheerleader because and then everyone was talking about this documentary, The Social Dilemma, so I definitely had to check it out. It talks about social media, but not in a way that I've seen it talked about before. It's, you know, they interview a lot of, like it says here, tech experts who have actually worked at these companies like Facebook, like Google and YouTube, and they give their interpretation of kind of like this monster that they've created in social media, and how social media is meant to work and how it's not meant for the user, it's meant for advertisers. And like I said, it's just a really interesting side of social media that I feel like you don't hear talked about a lot. You hear it talked about a lot from like the user point of view, like we spend too much time on our phones, we're too obsessed with likes, and it kind of explains that that's the job of social media. Like it's doing what it's supposed to do, and this is how it's detrimental to us. Will definitely make you look at your phone a little bit differently. Possibly like turn off your notifications and things like that. It is really, really interesting. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because I thought the little like dramatization that was like interspersed in the documentary was a little bit cheesy, but you know, it got the point across. Of Orphan here. Then I watched Antebellum, which a lot of people did not like, and that's fine. I mean, it's, yeah, I feel like it's gonna hit people certain ways depending on your background, depending on your experiences. So I do agree with a lot of the criticism around this movie though. I do have to say, I think I mean, I did a whole review on it. You can hear my thoughts more in depth, but I feel like the message that I kind of had with the movie, I feel like was very shallow in a lot of parts, and they could have gone a little deeper with it. They could have gone somewhere with it. But those are just my quick thoughts. And then I watched Spiral. Y'all have been all up in the comments asking if I've seen this movie, if I'm gonna talk about this movie. Here I am talking about the movie. So this one dropped on Shudder, and I feel like it's the next the next big like Shudder sensation that everyone's been talking about. This takes place in the 90s. Woo! We love 90s nostalgia. So it's about the same-sex couple who move into a small town, and the neighborhood is weird. Something strange is going on. It's very culty. It's very kind of just like real world home invasion type, kind of scary. And there's also a supernatural element that's going on there, which I really, really like. I liked the blending of those two things. Like it's not just the human monsters, there is a supernatural twist to it, and I think they blended those together really, really well. And it tackles a lot of social issues that were going on at that time, and honestly a lot of them could be applied to today, which is very unfortunate, but that is the world. So I thought it was really, really good. It's one of those that I feel like I immediately wanted to watch again, because it peels back layers as the movie goes on. Like you think you have a handle on what's going on, and then the movie takes like a left turn and you're going somewhere else, and it's just peeling back layer after layer. And it's definitely going to be one that makes you want to rewatch it immediately after, once you know what's happening. And then I watched Leprechaun. My patrons wanted me to watch this and drink again. If you remember, I did a drinking game for this movie like 2 years ago now. I don't know how long ago it was. The video is still up on my channel. I'm not linking it. You're gonna have to go find it. But I watched it and played a drinking game, and it was just one of those like shitty drinking games that's just meant to like destroy you. Like BS rules, like drink every time somebody says gold, which spoiler alert, is every other line in the movie. And other ridiculous things like that. And I got very, very drunk. Not this time around. Nobody was policing me, so I didn't actually play the drinking game. I just drank. I was a little bit drunk by the end of the movie night though. And then I rewatched Jennifer's Body because I felt like I kept seeing it on social media for like the past couple days leading up to this, and it just made me want to watch the movie. I think I've talked about this before, that and so many people have, like how done dirty this movie was, especially Megan Fox was in this movie. Partly because of the marketing, partly because it was Megan Fox that was starring in it, and yeah, just poor Megan Fox, I gotta say. She doesn't deserve like 90% of the hate that she gets, honestly. But yeah, and I was victim to that when I first saw this movie back in 2009, you know, back in the day when I was still in high school. I like jumped on the bandwagon of like thinking this movie was stupid. And yeah, I grew up and I watched the movie and I was like, wow, guess what? This movie's actually really good. I think a lot of us had that journey though with Jennifer's Body. Getting into some more patron requests here, I watched Swallow, which is another one a lot of y'all have been talking about for a while, and I just hadn't gotten around to watching. And oh my god, did this movie make me uncomfortable in a really good way. It's just like one of those that was like you're cringing and tense the entire time and kind of on the verge of like maybe vomiting a little bit the entire time, but it's in a good way. And the movie holds that. It holds you in that spot for the whole movie. Like it sets you up, you get uncomfy, and then that's your state of being until the end credits hit. It's ultimately about like women's body autonomy, and it makes you uncomfortable in that way also because yeah, I mean it hits home. And I should have said, sorry, that was requested of me by my patron Caleb, so thank you for that request. And then Kevin, one of my patrons, wanted me to watch Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and I discovered that this movie, look at all the good reviews of this movie. Apparently this is just like a very under talked about, made for TV like Halloween horror movie that everybody loves, and I had literally never heard of until Kevin brought it to my attention. So thank you, Kevin. It's kind of like your classic case of revenge. Somebody is wrongfully killed. They come back to exact revenge on the men who took their life. Really good, actually. I mean, it's a made-for-TV movie, so for all the creative kills there are, you don't get a lot of gore, but I understand, like, because it was made for TV, they're not going to show that. So that was a little bit disappointing. That's like the only reason it got like a little bit low for score. Not that gore is everything, but the kills were so cool. And they were still as intense, even though you didn't get all that gore. Like the implication of what was happening to the people when they were dying was enough. So yeah, if you haven't heard of this, check it out. It's definitely worth it. Everybody loves this movie. Why did nobody talk about it before? And then I watched Joshua, which was requested of me by Azul. This is kind of a like Omen, sort of bad seed type movie, where this creepy kid may or may not be orchestrating the downfall of his entire family. Very dark, very hard to watch in places, and it's just if you if you want to watch this movie, I will warn you, there's a lot of trigger warnings that can be given with this movie. In particular, probably the most prominent is child abuse. So that, you know, just a warning. But whoa, it's like I wasn't as into the movie when it first started, but as it kept going, it's like more and more I wanted to find out like is Joshua orchestrating all of this? Is this like the product of one of his parents' like broken mind? Give away the ending, but I was left a little unsatisfied by the ending. I guess the explanation that I got, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want, like, you know, I was mad at the explanation itself, but I was kind of like, I just wanted like a little bit more. I was kind of like, that's it. And I think that's the point. I think that's the point, but yeah. Okay, last two here. Randomly, I know I watched Unpregnant. It was on HBO Max, and as you guys know, I got the free trial of that for my Hidden Gems video, and this was, I think, an HBO Max movie. Or it's like being heavily advertised through, I'm not really sure. But it's a book. It is a YA book that I've never read, but I've seen it at work a lot. And it was just fun, kind of like a fun teen kind of road trip movie with a, you know, a kind of a serious topic of abortion. So this girl here finds out she's pregnant and she wants to get an abortion because she's only like 17 years old, and that can take over your entire life and change the course of your life, being pregnant and raising a child, or just being pregnant in general. So she wants to get an abortion, but the only place she can go get an abortion without her parents knowing as a minor is like a couple states away. So she asks her once best friend to drive her there, and it's, you know, road trip, craziness, hilarity, reconnecting as best friends ensues. It's one of those things that I wish was a movie. Sorry, I keep accidentally, God, I did it again. It's one of those movies that I wish was a thing when I was a teen. Like, man, would I be all over this movie. This would be like one of those formative movies for me. It's a little bit cheesy. It's a little bit, you know, just teen movie, but whatever, I liked it. And Betty Who as a lesbian race car driver, yeah. That's how I'm gonna sell you the movie. I could talk about like the deep meaning of the movie and the whole like pro-choice thing, but no, Betty Who is a lesbian race car driver. That's all you need to know about this movie. Finally, at least finally for this video, I watched The Stepford Wives, which was requested of me by finding it, Heather. Sorry, I just want to make sure I shout out my patron for requesting this. Yeah, I've never seen this movie, and I haven't seen the remake either. I think there's a remake with like Nicole Kidman. I don't know what year that came out, but yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys probably already know the story of The Stepford Wives. Yeah, that was a movie. It was definitely super interesting to watch in such close proximity with stuff like Unpregnant and Swallow, which are all very like women's rights centric. Body autonomy and all that. Super creepy. The soundtrack really added to the creepiness, or the score I should say. Like, holy shit. I feel like the message is pretty straightforward. We have the men wanting to control the women and make them be like the perfect housewives, get back into the kitchen, that sort of thing. Super creepy. Just super duper creepy. I hate the ending. I don't know why. Should I give away the ending? I feel like it's old enough. Sorry, I'm gonna give away the ending. I don't know why Joanna couldn't have like killed at least one or two of the men and got out of Stepford with her kids or something, but you know, hate the ending. But it was really good. It was a little slow for me in parts. It takes a while to kind of get going. for like the mystery to kind of unfold. And that could be because I already had an idea of what was going on in the movie. Even though I had never seen it, it's just kind of become one of those things in like pop culture. Everybody knows what a Stepford wife is. If you refer to somebody as like a Stepford wife or refer to that, people generally know what you're talking about. So that probably played a part in it also. Like I already had an idea of what was going on. Like these women were being controlled in some way. I just wasn't sure the exact way. But knowing that ahead of time, the movie kind of dragged for me a little bit because I was waiting to get into like the mystery of the town and everything. But yeah. So that's all. The month is not over yet, but like I said at the beginning of the video, there is not going to be a edited video for Wednesday. I'm just gonna do a live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk about 31 Days of Horror. We'll play a fun little game. Just chill, chill, less work for me to like have to film and edit a video. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And then Thursday starts 31 Days of Horrorween, so you'll get a video a day from me there. So yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you. You're awesome. I will see you guys super, super soon. Until then, stay strange. Bye.